Oh, there we go. Hey guys.
Hi, we're here live at the courthouse. I just did a bond hearing and heard that Judy was having lunch. And I also said I would do most of the talking if we went live.
Yes, thank you for being here, Katie. I know you've been so busy. So how are things going?
Yeah, being busy is fantastic. It's certainly preferable to the alternative, right?
That's right. When you're self-employed, you
Yeah.
have to eat what you kill.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I did catch a couple of the witnesses. The forensics I did not catch the end of.
I don't think you missed much. The forensics person was like, oh my God, I was like bored out of my mind and, didn't get a good night's sleep. You can see the bags under my eyes and just being there on the hard bench, squished in by this man.
Yeah.
I actually talked to the man that I was kind of annoyed with because he just like showed up and squished me all the way to the edge of the bench. Yeah. Well, he wasn't even man spreading. He was just like determined to fit in between me and this woman. I'm like,
do you know who he is?
I don't know who he is. And it felt like I was getting this like side squeeze or hug by some stranger the whole time. But we did briefly talk. Turns out he's a retired attorney from Sarasota.
Oh.
And so he and this woman said they watch my channel. So I was like, oh, well, thank you. Thanks for watching my channel. So you guys, what'd you think of those people you did hear or see today?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
They did what they could with what they had. It's, these facts are just really bad for the defense side. And Donna has done nothing but assist them in creating more bad facts for herself. So that is, when you're at the point that the state can pick and choose what they actually want to put on and what they actually want to argue about, you're losing.
So did they say that they're calling her back?
Oh, really? Is that that's the
friend, the female friend?
Right, but they're not married, so I guess
partners. They're partners. Yeah. Okay. Well, I have no idea because I was so bored. I left to get a quick early lunch to beat the rush. So no, I didn't see his notes because I was directly behind him, so I couldn't see over his head. So he has a very mostly bald head with these it looks almost like microblading, like little wisps of hair all going around the bottom third of his head. And then his jacket, people were joking that it was a members only jacket from the 80s, but it is not a members only jacket. It's like a nylon, sort of looks like a jogging suit type of jacket. And that's all I noticed about Harvey. And he did not smell. I didn't smell anything, even though I was like a foot away from the back of his head, I guess. So.
It's got to be incredibly awkward to be sitting there on your wife's first-degree murder trial. I've never been there.
Yeah.
And I don't plan to be.
Never be there. Okay, be honest. What did Katie think of Annie?
Was that the
friend,
the girl, or the female
friend?
I didn't think much about her. That she was trying to help in any way she possibly could. Is what I took from her, or as far as she could possibly go, she was going to go. And she obviously loves Donna very much and likes her
loyal,
a lot, and
trying to be a good friend. That's what friends are for.
Yeah. If you're not going to testify in my first-degree murder trial, we're not really friends, are we?
Yeah, but they actually haven't even known each other as long as I thought they had.
That was surprising.
Yeah, because they didn't even meet until 2009. Of course, they blame it all on Chinese food, because they went to a Chinese restaurant on Christmas Eve. And her partner, Ron.
And that's a big Jewish thing, like going to Chinese restaurants.
That's what I heard. Yeah, they go to Chinese restaurants. So apparently there was some hard spare rib thing that Ron chomped on and cracked his front tooth. So they had this friend who they contacted, and they're like, who do we know around here to help poor Ron with his cracked tooth? And it's almost Christmas. So that mutual friend said, hey, wait a second, Harvey Adelson is not too far from you guys, so let's put you in touch. So Ron was actually friends already from ages ago from high school back at Stuyvesant. That's very impressive. He went to Stuyvesant, but they had lost touch for a while. And that's how they met again in 2009. So then they decided, well, why don't we have dinner with Harvey and his wife? And that's how this beautiful friendship between Annie and Donna started.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it's the really interesting thing is that clearly they've got the download of Donna's phone.
Mhm.
So I mean, the state was ready for him. Like, what do you mean you didn't talk about it? Like, I'm reading your text messages right now.
Yeah, that made her sound like such a ditz. When Sarah Catherine Dugan was like, oh, would it refresh your recollection, blah, blah, blah. She just text you.
To be fair, I don't know if I would remember who I was texting, but if it was post your son's murder conviction, maybe that would stand out in my mind.
Yeah. Well, let's see. So she's up there just kind of looking like some sort of airheaded friend that just wants to help Donna. And she was talking about how she was such a nice person. That's where I was like, this not allowed. It's just like general, she's a nice lady. She would never do something. So of course, Georgia objected to it.
And then they overruled it. And I'm assuming it's because of the Rob testimony that came out that she's like, she would not be easily duped. And that there was some character evidence that came out through that. That's my assumption, but I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, because then Jackie Fulford rephrased her question and said something like, have your observations of her, based on your observations, have you found her to be hateful toward anyone? Did she ever threaten anyone? Did she ever harm anyone? Did she ever threaten to harm anybody? I'm thinking, well, Donna is supposedly a great actress. One of her friends told me behind the scenes that Donna was constantly lying, but you could never really tell if
so
she
similar
was.
To Wendy.
Yeah, they seem so similar. Plus Charlie too. And so she could just look you straight in the eyes and tell you lies, and you couldn't be sure because she's so convincing. And that's sort of what Dan Markel's mom put in her book, was that after Dan was killed, Donna appeared normal, and she was like, acting concerned and crying. And she went up to Ruth Markel and said, oh, I promise you the boys will always know their roots, or something like that. Like, well, she's good
not
at
normal,
acting.
But as expected.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, she knows
in
how
that
to,
scenario.
how to act. Yeah, even Tamara Demko had said that Donna seemed to be acting appropriately. That
Harvey kind of gave it away.
Yeah, it was Harvey who gave it away, because Harvey wouldn't look her in the eye and seemed shady.
And what's really interesting, because I did a bunch of research on polygraph tests, and prior to taking one for my first job out of law school, the most likely, kind of demographic to flunk a polygraph test, white Catholic females. And then the next one is white Jewish females.
Really?
Like, they're right on top of each other.
Really?
Like, we feel guilty. I'm Catholic, so
yeah,
like,
you feel guilty.
I feel guilty about stuff I haven't even done, and apparently so do Jews.
Oh.
So that's really interesting to me.
No. Are you a pretty, what do you call it, like a staunch Catholic, where you go to church? And
I was, up until reading the discovery on one of the priests.
Oh, okay.
Let's say I'm a little lapsed now, but it's your like kind of manner of thinking that it goes along with.
Yeah. Oh yes, I totally agree. I don't know if I'd call them cuckoos, but that's kind of funny.
Golf course.
Yeah, because they're talking about how wealthy they are. And I thought that was kind of gratuitous when Annie said how rich Ron was, that he made a ton of money off of real estate or something. And I was like, why are you mentioning this? Just bragging about it.
Or that, was she trying to say that they were retired or something?
Yeah,
like
they're
that?
retired because he's like so rich off of real estate, I guess. And so what was it about the guy? The guy seemed inappropriately giddy and jovial. He was trying to get people to laugh at first by talking about his funny story at the Chinese restaurant where he cracked his tooth. And I was like,
it's a murder trial.
Yeah, how do you think Dan Markel's parents and sisters feel just sitting there listening to you yucking it up and acting like you're in a comedy club. So that was kind of bizarre. And let's see. Okay, so Andy just focused on how Donna supposedly acted all concerned. She was very upset. After Danny had been shot, she said she's going up to Tallahassee. She was very concerned about Wendy and the boys, and she was very concerned about Danny. She looked incredibly sad and wrenching. It was still very sad.
And not sad enough to skip the layover in Orlando, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, not sad enough to cooperate with Detective Isom when they wanted to interview her that Sunday plus Monday. They skipped town. So this is where I wrote, why didn't the state call Ruth Markel or Sarah Youssef or that former employee who had told me that Donna hated Dan? You know, like she was so riled up. She was constantly griping about it to the office staff, and she was very upset and very wound up about Wendy's divorce and court proceedings. So, yeah, I don't know why the state didn't call Stephen Webster even.
I mean, I wonder, I mean, wasn't he on the witness list? I think he was, because I have a co-defendant case with him right now, and I knew we were trying to keep him in Tallahassee in case they needed him. But they may call him as rebuttal. Like, now that they've opened the door to all these things, they're like, Donna was, perfectly nice during the divorce, and Webster could be like, is this thing on?
Well, although I don't know if Stephen Webster had any contact with Donna, though. That's the thing, because based on all his interviews and stuff, it sounds like he just talked to Dan a lot, and he talked to Wendy's attorney, but I don't think he had direct contact.
Some of the stuff that he testified to in the last trial, and I think that Rashbaum was maybe strategically not objecting to some of it, to like not seem like a jerk. But I mean, some of the stuff he testified to is 100% hearsay, and he just like, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody objects to it, that tree doesn't exist.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So they're calling Annie back from the airport. Boy, she must be pissed. She's probably like, why did I get involved in this crap?
Well, what time of year is it? I guess maybe they would be in New York this time of year, huh?
Yeah, they mentioned New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Also, yeah. So who knows if they still have a house there.
Ooh, the forensic expert on cross was forced to testify that there was no call between Donna and Annie on the day of the crime.
Yes, I was there. Yeah, I was there when they said that. And that's kind of where I perked up when Dugan finally got up there and got to ask questions. I was like, oh, thank God.
And she's almost good at catching you on little tiny things that show you're lying, like the phone records.
Yeah, that's right. The forensics expert, I'm sorry to say this because people make fun of me as a woman with a bad voice, but she sounded very ditzy, and everything was in the form of a question, like laughing and stuff. I'm like, wait a second, if you're a young woman who's in this field, you have to be very serious to be taken seriously.
And you almost try to artificially talk lower.
Yeah.
To not sound that way.
Yeah, to not have that upspeak and questioning sound like you're asking for permission with every question.
That's something we even discussed in law school. Like,
really?
Well, I mean, I did trial teams and stuff like that, so it was a much more presentation oriented.
Yeah.
And I was told, I distinctly remember one of my professors saying, call her Kathleen. Katie sounds like a child that escaped from a zoo. And I'm rude. I supposed to do. People are like, Dan Markel was mean to students, or Dan Markel was tough. Like, they're supposed to be mean to you in law school.
If it's supposed to improve things, hopefully. Yeah. I think Annie looks like Sophia. I don't know. Well, she looked like skinnier. Like she kind of looked sort of like Donna before Donna gained weight, with that very skinny, trim, older lady look.
Stylized hair.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. It's because I didn't have time to shower. I was in such a rush. I didn't have time to shower this morning. So I didn't wash my hair. So maybe
And we got very hard water here too. I don't know if you got that in North Carolina, but we'll probably
Didn't
learn
notice.
that later.
Yeah. Well, at least the water here tastes pretty good from the tap. As soon as the prosecution came with questions, she turned into a gremlin. Okay. Yeah, she
I
didn't
must
come
have missed
across
some of that.
well. Well, I mean, I just feel like overall she seemed kind of like loopy, and I'm sure the jury saw through her. Like, of course, your friend isn't going to be telling you that she's plotting to kill off Dan Markel. That
And they probably
she's
hit
so
it off
happy.
because they're both teachers and Donna had custody, or Donna really had custody of the boys. So they're both teachers and she's talking about the boys and their development. And, you know, I'm sure
Mhm.
that's what they were bonding over.
Yeah. Yeah, blame it on the Asians and that Chinese food. But it led to the serendipitous reunion of Harvey and his old friend. And then that's how the beautiful friendship between Annie and Donna developed. What?
I was like, how do you break it down on broccoli?
No, on broccoli. Yeah. How can that
That's
happen?
impressive.
Yeah. Okay. Kosher Christmas. Well, I guess they're not kosher. So they both came across as coached. Yeah, I'm sorry. You can see how tired and awful I look. I didn't sleep well. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning just because I don't know. I couldn't sleep and the pillow was so uncomfortable at the hotel. So I feel like I should have brought my own pillow. So, okay. So let's see. Where's Patty? Oh, Patty, my roommate, Patty, the former Adelson employee.
Yeah,
She's eating lunch right now. Yeah, because she stayed behind when I left. We couldn't even sit together because it was so packed. And there was somebody sitting next to Patty. I asked, can you guys move in a little more? And she was like, no, because then I can't see. I was like, okay, so there's all this space here, so I just got up and moved.
Well, they've got some in opportunely placed columns in that courtroom too, which are just rotten. I mean, I've only tried cases in there, but like I said, I like to watch it online because I think you hear better if you're watching for content as opposed to just the show.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I totally agree. The inmates, they were really credible to me.
Yeah. Just because you're in jail doesn't mean you're not telling the truth.
Yeah. Ronnie gets a new pair of choppers for his testimony. Yeah. Ron just seems like some privileged, rich jokester type. You can tell he's from New York, and
they have very strong accents too.
Yeah. Let's see. He looked like oh no.
Keep talking. There you go. It's fine. Like it just needed some movement.
Oh God. Okay. Need some water here. So many people walk among us that are psychopathic. That's true.
I think that the statistics are 1% to 2% of the population, but most people that are of that ilk are pretty much like benign ones, like CEO types.
Oh, okay. Who don't actually murder people.
I don't know.
So who is the person sitting with? Would you like to tell people your quick bio?
Hi, my name is Katie Bogenschutz. I'm a criminal defense attorney in Tallahassee. I was a prosecutor for 12 years before I was a criminal defense attorney. I'm originally from South Florida. I was a prosecutor down there when all the arrests occurred. Well, except for Charlie's, I was up here for his. And been interested in the case since that.
Yeah. And who discovered you? Jay? The shaming of Jay? Yeah. How did you get in touch?
I enjoyed the comedy. Like
Thank you.
That's how I found you too.
Thank you.
Like, there's so many things about a homicide case that are so desperately sad. And then you have something like Donna washing the money. And you're like, you know what? Or like June Umshinda, who was like the palate cleanser you need after this just like horrifically sad testimony. And then she gets lost again. You're like, it's those little tiny.
Yeah, like sometimes you need comic relief.
Yes.
Because it's just so stressful if you just keep thinking about how
family
horrible.
law, criminal law.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of like desperate sadness in that. And just gallows humor even. I mean, like you'll hear prosecutors, cops, defense attorneys telling just awful jokes. And it's, it's how you cope.
Yeah. What does this mean? Does falsus in omnibus apply to any?
False in one, false in everything?
False in everything. I don't think so, but you tell us. Does
the jury instruction in Florida for credibility of the witnesses reads, you can believe all, some, or part of a witness's testimony. So you can believe that they're telling the truth about one thing and not telling the truth about another, or you can throw out that entire witness's testimony because you think that this portion of their testimony was not true. So that's something that jurors go back and have that discussion, like, should we believe this person just because we know that this portion of their testimony is not correct? However, just not being correct is not necessarily a lie. You could just be mistaken.
Just like how Wendy gets out of perjury.
Yeah. And that's why it's so difficult to prosecute perjury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But is that something they would actually give as a jury instruction?
No. The jury instruction is that a jury, an individual juror can believe or disbelieve all or part of a witness's testimony. That basically it's up to you to decide what to rely upon and who you believe is a credible witness.
Hey, Truth Lifestyles, we're missing you here. I was just telling Patty that we had such a good time hanging out together during Charlie's trial, but she's too busy to come back this week. So what do you guys
I noticed the gaming laptop too. But what you should be aware of is, and I know this because another defense attorney friend of mine actually bought the software to do Cellbrite on phones. You need a gaming laptop to be able to do that, like to be able to Cellbrite a phone. And in fact, my way too expensive MacBook Pro, like biggest, most expensive thing I could possibly buy because of all the body cam we do, that did not have the capability to run the Cellbrite software, which shocked me. So you need like one of these like game. Now, did you need a Dragon decal on it? I don't think so, but you do need like a really serious laptop to be able to do a lot of the cell phone forensics.
Okay. Ronnie offered his fancy gated I mean, I'm sure the jury was just like, these are such hoity-toity rich people from New York City, coming down to Florida. And is that even true? I mean, didn't they continue living at that, wherever they are?
I think
now,
there was the Icon
and then the other place on Brickell Avenue.
And just so you know, most condos down there and a lot of neighborhoods in South Florida are gated.
Yes.
That is not unusual. There are
security.
very few of those up here. In fact, I think there's only one that's like a golf course community up here that's really gated.
Yeah.
But it's just not something that's done up here.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that kind of further alienated the jury from Donna and her friends, like, so these are the type of people we're talking
I'm very
about.
wealthy. I'm very wealthy.
Let me tell you more about my wealth. How about how Jackie said the court reporter would shoot her? Yeah, I was like, what kind of, you chose the wrong words, lady. She's so tone deaf. This is crazy. Yeah. And once again, it just shows how Jackie Fulford continually falls flat when she's trying to. Maybe my knees are hurting.
Yeah.
I need knee pads to crouch up. Okay, guys, we're in this weird setup where we only have one chair here and a little table that's attached to the chair. So this is like the weirdest live stream setup ever. Okay. When you feel like standing or kneeling,
I'm comfortable now.
We'll switch it up and stuff. So we're in pain here doing live streaming. I'm sorry, can't have it all. Okay,
it just means that you were an athlete. Right?
Yeah. I'll skate. I'm gonna compete again in October. Yeah.
You have a live stream.
Maybe later if I don't fall on my butt too many times. I'd be a terrible juror because Ron would have had me voting guilty just off his vibe. Yeah, he wasn't as likable as he thought he would be. So let me see here. Okay, so based on my notes, I was taking copious notes here. The bar mitzvah was planned for January of 2024. And Annie goes, yes, and she attended it. And they had discussed it. So once again, I was like, so what? This is just like Wendy boohooing and saying that, she could have been the commencement speaker at FSU, but she didn't get to go to it because Dan was killed. I was like, so what? I don't care that there was some important bar mitzvah that they were supposedly coming back to.
We already know how not Jewish they really are.
Yeah, it is kind of
So-
a contradiction that they seem to care so much about this bar mitzvah.
I did like
Yeah.
the fact they brought up the bury me in the dress.
Yeah, that was great. You can bury me in the dress that I bought for
For Lincoln.
Lincoln's bar mitzvah.
I hope
Yeah,
it didn't look like Wendy's dress.
yeah, that would
That
be
was-
hilarious. I wouldn't put it past Donna to
Yeah.
wear some sort of like bra mitzvah, cleavage bearing robe, just like her daughter.
Red satin.
Yeah, it looks like something from Fredericks of Hollywood or Timu. Yeah, just as when Charlie joked about brushing her teeth, they can't read the room. Yeah. Let's see. Why aren't they calling the two guys that absconded with the because they don't know who they are. There were two inmates who supposedly told investigators that Sigfredo confessed to them.
Right, that there was another try.
Yeah, that there had been some other hitman that ripped off the family the previous year for $50,000. So we don't know who those alleged hitmen could have been.
There's been a thread in this case that runs through the whole thing,
Mhm.
and it is in the areas of your life that you need to save money.
Yeah.
Make sure that you spend money where you need to spend it, like, with the round trip ticket. That would have been worth it. Make
Yeah.
sure that you bought, the hitmen you get, they actually are going
Professionals.
to, that they're professionals. Maybe they aren't going to shoot through the gas line in a Prius or,
Yeah, and meet up with a drug dealer who is a witness and get a speeding ticket and go to the ATM
believe
to
it.
get caught on security camera left and right. Yeah.
So I'm not in the business of telling people how to commit crimes, but
Mhm.
some things are worth, upgrading.
Thank you, Mary. Thanks for being Emperor. Oh, yes. So Patty's having lunch right now. They'll ask, can he?
Everybody's trying to thaw out from the courtroom.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable in there. If Donna was talking to her on WhatsApp, since there's no record of a call. Yeah. So once again, who was it that was downplaying the WhatsApp and the Viper or something? Was that Ron?
Oh, I didn't hear all of his testimony, so I can't.
Yeah, I think it was Ron that talked about that and was trying to downplay the fact that Donna could have been using WhatsApp. Or
Well,
maybe it
because of
was
the
Annie.
international travel
Yeah, there's
aspect of it.
all these trips together. We went to Japan. Oh, no, that was Annie. Yeah. So she said, yeah, we also went on a trip to Japan together. And, we'd be using those apps just because it's a free, easy way to communicate with people.
I still
Yeah.
like my mother and Donna are the same age and were educated in the same school system in the same years. They just they don't know each other.
Oh,
But like my mother would screw up WhatsApp immediately upon opening it. So it almost seems like she had some tutelage there, or else maybe she really is good with tech.
mhm. Yeah. Oh, on this note, I remember Fancy Fiction reported that she had a source who told her Donna barely taught. She might have taught for a year or two before she became a domestic coordinator.
Well, and Wendy testified actually that she went back to work as a teacher at some point when Wendy was younger, or when Wendy went to school or something like that. But I thought she was I thought she was working at the dental practice.
Yeah, I think most of the time she was the
Like the
office
bookkeeper.
manager.
Right.
Yeah.
You can do that like kind of part-time in a practice, like being a couple days a week or afternoons or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I
Yeah,
mean, she could
okay,
have been
maybe
a
that makes sense.
substitute teacher, but then to make it seem like, oh, she was a great educator, she had a career as a teacher. I mean,
That
that's an
makes sense. Like,
exaggeration.
the other teacher goes on maternity, something
Yeah.
gets sick, surgery, you do a couple weeks here and there.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, always bring your own pillow. Yeah, but I flew here, so I was trying to travel light. Who would have thought the pillows here would be so uncomfortable and hard? Yeah. Why wouldn't the expert know the total amount of money?
Possibly, well, I wasn't watching the expert, but are you talking about what they were paid? Probably,
Yeah.
probably because they're still testifying. So who knows how much more, many more hours are going to be billed standing by.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Patty's Playhouse, we said hi before court started, but I didn't have time to really say hi and talk to people because even when they have breaks, sometimes you don't know how long it's going to take. So, yeah, so people aren't really there to socialize. Oh, okay.
I was just showing Judy.
Okay, is it time to go?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got to get back to the. I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll just have to go now because it's time to get back into the courtroom. Do you have to get back to work?
Unfortunately,
Oh,
but I
okay.
will be listening
Thank
to
you.
it while I lament my chosen profession.
Okay. Yeah, same here. It's like, oh, I'm so glad I don't have a ton of work emails and phone calls yet, but later I do have to do some work. Yeah, Patty and I will probably do something else. I already feel my throat is hurting from talking so much since I came here. So yeah, but we'll do something. And of course, Mona too. Mona's always up for some fun. Yeah. What's the statement? Oh yeah. So that was when Ron was testifying. He said, or at least the attorney mentioned that Harvey was on the floor crying like a baby. Oh, that was when the lady was still testifying, when Anne.
I think
Yeah.
that was in the like recorded calls too.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
it was because Donna mentioned it
Mhm.
on one of the calls. Yeah, this is when Georgia Kappelman was cross-examining Annie Cunningham. She said, Donna Adelson complained that Wendy had not even called and Harvey was on the floor crying like a baby. That's when it came up. But we already knew that anyway because Donna said that in her recorded phone call. So, okay, yeah, let's just scroll down. I'm so sorry. We have to get going. Got to get back in the courtroom. And it could be closed by the time I get there because they don't let people.
Yeah,
just
that's why I
barge
was
in.
suggesting.
Okay, well, thank you guys, and hopefully I'll have a voice to be able to talk some more. Maybe Patty will join me tonight since we're roommates. So, okay,
like
guys.
adult sleepover.
Yeah, it is. It's great to finally meet her and stuff. So yeah, she is so boring. God, I hope there's something more interesting coming up soon. Yeah. Okay, talk to you guys later then. Thank you. Thank you, Tater. Thanks for your support. Thank you, Katie.
Bye.
Also.